Good afternoon and welcome to News Around Africa on Channel 38, Facebook and YouTube channel. I am Esther Wilson. At least 20 people have been killed in northwest Nigeria after armed gang members attacked villages in Zamfara state, according to the AFP news agency. Today, between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m., a large number of bandits have invaded our communities, targeting all the people they meet. Nasiru Wali, the representative of the Suana district in the local government zone of Talata Mafara, told AFP on Wednesday. The attacks come amid increasing violence in northwest and central Nigeria, where armed gangs or bandits have raided villages in recent weeks. They are accused of stealing livestock and kidnapping residents for ransom. Late on Tuesday, at least 3 suspected bandits were killed by security forces in the country's Kwara state, according to Nigeria's The Punch news website. The news service said that security forces managed to rescue a business person, Toko Sani. Kidnappings have become common in Nigeria as armed groups seek large ransoms from the government and citizens. The situation has been worsened by a security crisis, partly fueled by the Boko Haram rebellion in the country's northeast. In 2024, attackers earned more than 1.6 million in ransom payments, according to SBM intelligence. Dozens of students and teachers were rescued earlier this month, 56 days after they were kidnapped from 3 schools in the southwestern state of Oyo. 8 of the suspected kidnappers were arrested and an unspecified number were killed, according to the statement issued by President Bola Tinubu. At least 143 refugees and migrants are dead or missing from a single boat off the coast of Mauritania that was trying to reach Europe, the United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, says. The agency said on Tuesday that it was extremely saddened by the deaths, which came despite 3 rescue operations off Mauritania between July 14th and 18th that pulled 387 people to safety from other stranded boats. The vessel had set off from Bafouloto in the Gambia and was rescued on July 18 after 25 days adrift, carrying bodies and 38 survivors when it reached the port of Nouadhibou, the UNHCR said. Among the survivors of the ship, there were 2 children who have lost all their family members during the journey and they are recovering in hospital. UNHCR spokesperson Matt Saltmarsh told reporters in Geneva. Another person died on another vessel that disembarked in Mauritania on July 14. The dead were from sub-Saharan African countries, he said, without giving details of how they died. Mauritania's Coast Guard put the number missing at 122, saying the boats ran out of fuel after leaving the Gambia with 160 people on board. The UNHCR called the route to the Canary Islands one of the world's deadliest, citing long distance and overcrowd on seaworthy boats, and urged more access to education and jobs to offer alternatives to the crossings. Mauritania is a major departure point on the Atlantic route, where tens of thousands attempt to reach the Canary Islands, part of Spain, each year. Arrivals have fallen sharply under a European Union-founded crackdown in which Mauritanian authorities have deported thousands of asylum seekers and migrants and pushed departures to longer, deadlier journeys from further down the coast. The death toll from the latest Ebola epidemic in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, the fastest spreading outbreak of the virus ever recorded, has surged above 1,000. John Kasia, Director General of the African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, said at a health conference in Ghana on Wednesday that 1,031 deaths have been confirmed since the emergency of the Bundibugyo strain of the virus in May. These are people dying, Kasia said. They are dying because we don't have vaccines, we don't have medicines, we don't have funding. According to the WHO, 2 people have also died from the virus in neighboring Uganda. The DRC's health ministry said that as of Monday, 2,473 cases had been confirmed in the latest outbreak of Ebola, which spreads via close physical contact and exposure to infected bodily fluids. At least 737 patients are currently in isolation or hospitalized, the ministry said. The DRC outbreak was declared on May 15th after several deaths were recorded in the northeastern province of Ituri. Since then, the death toll has risen faster than in any previous Ebola outbreak on record, including the 2013-2016 epidemic, which was the largest and deadliest in history, with more than 11,000 deaths out of at least 28,000 cases, primarily in West Africa across Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. That outbreak took about 8 months to reach 1,000 deaths. The latest epidemic in the DRC has done so in less than 10 weeks. Once backed by influential Muslim scholars, Burkina Faso's military leader is now facing a growing rift over arrest, new legislation, and his campaign against what he describes as religious extremism. Burkina Faso's transitional leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, has sharply escalated his confrontation with influential Muslim scholars, declaring that what he calls radical Islam has no place in the country and warning that the battle has begun against those he accuses of promoting religious extremism. Addressing scholars whom he accused of spreading extremist ideas, Traoré declared, "If this is your Islam, we will fight it. Extremists must change. If they do not, the battle has begun." His remarks underscore a widening rift between the government and parts of Burkina Faso's Muslim community. Once an important source of support for the military leader, several influential Sunni scholars are now at odds with the authorities over the religious freedom law, the detention of prominent imams, and the government's campaign against religious extremism. Traoré argued that religion should spread through example rather than coercion or violence. He also questioned why some Muslims oppose the new legislation and warned that imams who use sermons to promote extremist ideas would be suspended. At the same time, he pledged state support for scholars who advocate what he described as peaceful interpretation of Islam, while accusing foreign powers of exploiting religion to destabilize. That's all we have time for on this edition of News Around Africa. Thanks for watching, and I'm Esther Wilson.